and get that information to you. Additionally, one of the programs that we ordered for our preschool special education programs is called the Pyramid Model, and it is a social emotional curriculum that was developed for our early learning programs specifically. It is supported by the University of Washington, and many districts across the state of Washington use it. And so we had staff from the University of Washington provide the curriculum training to over 90 staff in our early childhood special education programs this last Friday. In addition to that, we have many trainings that are available asynchronously through our Student Supports Instructional Summit website, which is the location that houses our professional learning throughout the years. And so we have supports and training around a variety of topics, from supporting students with unique needs to supporting students with complex bodies, to various other topics. We have probably 30 to 40 topics on there that are available for staff to earn clock hours for taking the asynchronous trainings. In addition to that, we are partnering with NOVAC, and we have been in conversations and meetings with them to schedule trainings and supports for UDL and MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of support training. We are also working on developing a special ed law course. The SEA members have requested that kind of course. And then I believe there's a couple other topics that we'll also be covering for professional development for our staff. But just know that that is a topic that, with Supervisor Pelland in the role that she's in this year, we are really excited about the opportunities to expand our professional learning, specifically around UDL, MTSS, inclusionary practices, which also includes partnering with our friends over in curriculum assessment and instruction, as well as advanced learning, multilingual, who am I missing? And behavioral health. So we know that the key to inclusion is that it's not done by special education for special education. It takes an entire community to lift it. So we're really looking forward to expanding the options.
This is Cheryl Lynn. UDL, Universal Design for Learning, MTSS, Multi-Tier Service Supports.
System of Support.
System, thank you, Jana. And CPI, Crisis Prevention Institute, correct? Yes. Cheryl Lynn, still going back to the questions, what is the Special Education Department, or SPS, doing to attract and place special ed IAs for emergency one-to-one IA positions?
That is a question that I don't have the answer to right here. That is a function of our Human Resources Department. And so, as we know, nationwide, we have shortages across the board for education, which includes teachers, paraprofessionals, educational staff associates, such as school psychologists and SLPs. We have a recruitment and retention team within HR that is actively working to support increasing the amount of staff for all of these needs.
Thank you. This is Cheryl Lynn. Can you please add program specialist to the chart? I assume this is the org chart discussion.
They should be part of the org chart, yes.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Laura, let me ask two more questions and then I'll get back to your second. First question, can you let us know what is happening with the parent partner program?
Sure. So right now, I don't have an update on the parent partner program. As you know, there's a lot of new faces and staff in our special education department. And so we are working on developing out a what I should say is that more details will be coming so that I can make sure I have the correct information for you. And what I can also say is that we are working on ways to improve family engagement in our processes and opportunities for support.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Two things. Because of the technical problems, things were delayed. Devin, can you stay until at least 8?
Yes, I can stay till 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask a question, but Laura, go ahead. Laura Kramer.
Can we move Laura so I could see her better? She's still small. So I was listening to you talking about behavior. And I know last year there was a lot of behavior problems with many kids. And this year there's still, some kids that have behaviors. Some are new and some are not. What is the best approach to help the teachers with that? So everyone's comfortable. We need more staff.
This is Devin. Great question, Laura. There are a few things, and without getting too specific, because we have a lot of specific, situations we could point to, the best systems for supporting behavior are strong tier 1 systems. And so what that means are the supports that are available to all students in a classroom. So that would be routines and procedures, that would be flexible options, a lot of the universally designed approaches, such as being able to have different ways to express needs and understanding, different ways to access the learning. And so that's really that tier 1 framework. When we have students who need supports, we always look at what's happening in tier 1 first, make sure that those are solid. We really think about what do adults need to do to support students, and do we need different training or different approaches. And so when we have students who are communicating through behavior, because we know that all behavior is communication, oftentimes a team can come together for a school to look at a function of a behavior. Oftentimes this would be included in a functional behavior assessment. That type of assessment is something that's available for all students with IEPs, typically done by a case manager.
Behind on her.
Oh. I'll continue. So we have support from our behavior team as well as our school-based program specialists who can help support teachers in building the skills for developing behavior intervention plans and functional behavior assessments. We have supports through CPI training, and that means crisis prevention and intervention, which is the model or the program that Seattle Public Schools uses for de-escalation and physical intervention when absolutely necessary as a last resort. From then, we also can support students through the IEP with looking at the frequency, duration, and intensity of services and looking at goals. So I would say generally, very generally and broadly, those are the opportunities that we would first engage in, and then come together as an IEP team to determine what supports students need. What are those needs, and how do we make sure those needs are being met?
Thank you. This is Cheryl Lynn. Are any of your current professional development trainings offered by neurodiverse individuals, particularly around behavior and autistic students? How are you incorporating input from adult autistics and their concerns around behaviorist approaches to discipline and meeting needs, and which treats autistic voices equal to neurotypical voices?
I think that's such an important question, Ashley. What I can say is that we have on our team individuals with disabilities who are providing the trainings, developing the materials. I don't feel comfortable disclosing nature of disability or diagnosis for various members of my team. But what I can say is that in working on developing our special education advisory council, the voices of individuals with disabilities are critical. And so in working on developing that, which is going to help us be better as a system and support one another, we're going to make sure that we have student voice, we have community engagement, community voice, and that we also make sure that we have individuals with disabilities, whether they're students or adults, helping us to make our system better for everybody involved. Thank you for that question.
This is Cheryl Lynn. I'm sorting back through finding a question. Just to let everyone know what you would have heard had the meeting not exploded on the landing pad or the takeoff. We are capturing all questions, and we will be sharing these with Devin so that she can find answers and forward them to the different groups and people who might have the answers. So our next question, I'd like to know what the district has in place for students who have or may have dyslexia. I know there is a screener for first and second, but we have impacted students who are older and have never been evaluated and need support.
So that is a question I don't have the answer to off the top of my head. However, we do have a team who is specifically working on the dyslexia work. And so I can reach out and get information and get that back to you.
Thank you. This is Cheryl Lynn. I've received a couple of anonymous questions, so I'm going to go ahead and deliver those. I just have to... And there comes the cat. It's making comments because there's just not enough going on tonight. Why is the district spending resources on UDL by a company from out of state as opposed to utilizing the UW's Herring Center that offers this support, and their services are funded by the state of Washington?
So we put out what's called a request for proposals that could go to anyone across the nation. And NOVAC was the organization who put together a proposal and who we ultimately selected. NOVAC is working very closely with the state of Washington on inclusionary practices. They are working with our Special Education Support Center, who provides training and supports to our educators, not exclusive to educators. However, that's their primary focus. They are also providing services and support through the Association of Washington School Principals, the Association of Educational Service Districts, through the Washington Association of School Administrators, and I believe to potentially some other organizations who are helping support the inclusionary practice developments within the state of Washington. However, I do want to say that we have a very strong partnership with the Herring Center. I meet biweekly with Herring Center leads. We have been part of the demonstration site visits and work. Specifically, what I can say is I meet biweekly with Eileen Schwartz and Rena Marie Leon Guerrero. They are very invested in supporting Seattle Public Schools, as we are in partnering with them. And so we're very excited about these partnerships. And I think the more supported and integrative supports we can get to help Seattle do best for all of our students, whether they're students with disabilities or students facing intersectional barriers, the better. So I think we have a fantastic team of supports around Seattle Public Schools, which includes both Novak and the Herring Center.
This is Jana. I think that what the person, because that came to me and then I pinged it to CherylLynn. What the question really was is that the district is spending money, and I believe that was like $650,000 on the contract with Novak Education, and yet the person here said the Herring Center support would be funded by the state of Washington. That would not cost the district any money. So that was the question. And I personally didn't hear an answer to that.
Well, what I'll say is that I'm not exactly sure that that is a statement that I understand to be true. There are some partnerships and resources that come naturally through us being large agencies who work together in support of students, and that come naturally through those partnerships. And there are some parts of the partnerships that do have a fiscal portion. And so my understanding is not necessarily in line with that question. So.
This is Cheryl Lynn. I have several more questions so we can follow up. Is there a plan to provide an SPS-based case manager for students who are placed at non-public agencies? The specialist supervisor that were at this meeting earlier have clearly stated they are not the case managers. However, the NPA-based teachers also insist they are not the case manager and have no ability to coordinate, deliver associated services such as SLP/OT. This is leaving many aspects of a student's experience lacking when they are placed at NPAs, out of sight, out of mind. And I'll just add, given the conversation from last month's meeting, clearly there are a lot of issues around NPA, and anything that we can do to share knowledge with folks, we'd be happy to do.
Absolutely. So in closing, it looks like we're at about 8 o'clock. So I want to honor my family's time as well. But what I will say is that we have our program specialists who support our supervisors. They work together. I'm going to be completely transparent that we are still working to hire about 4 to 5 program specialists. So we are doing the best we can to cover all of the cases and the needs as they are coming up. You know, we're within our first, I think we're just getting to about a month of school. So we're at, I think the other piece that's important to know is that as we are shifting how NPAs are supported to be more family focused and student focused, there are going to probably be some bumps in the road as we work to smooth them out. And so if you haven't heard yet from a case manager or a supervisor, we are working to clarify some of those pieces. We have some non-public agencies that have several students. So we are working out a plan to determine whether case management would be best to have one staff member on our team case manage an entire NPA versus having individual program specialists each interact with different students in the NPA. So more to come on that, but it is definitely something that our team is prioritizing and working on. So.
That is great. This is Cheryl Lynn. Thank you, Devin. One question, if I'm totally understanding and really appreciate you staying longer. Your contact information, is that something that you can share or is readily available?
Oh, absolutely. It's on the link that I sent at the beginning, but let me, I can't type and talk at the same
Right.
time.
And again, all of the questions that have come in, we are going to capture and we will share with Devin and her team. And while we don't have a system for necessarily getting them back out, so we're working on that. It may be that I'm trying to slow down. It may be that we do that via email, or we put a Q&A that we post on the website, or both.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, CherylLynn and team. Thank you all for having me here. It's great to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have thrown out a couple of different things from the agenda. I do, however, you know what, actually, this is Cheryl Lynn. I do want to run a video around Disability History and Awareness Month. However, I realize I haven't checked my system, and the last thing I want to do is try something technical that might fail. So, Jana, could I pitch to you to talk about the legislative assembly and advocacy work? Then we'll come back. I want to highlight several big events we've got coming up, as well as take us a look at an inspiring video, but not disability porn inspiration.
This is Jana. My time was 8:25 and I'm gathering, I had a very busy day, so I'm gathering my thoughts still. Anyway, so the Seattle Special Education PTSA had 4 delegates go to the Washington State PTA Legislative Assembly this past weekend. And we learned, we did a very good job advocating for improvement in what we advocate for and what the Washington State PTA advocates for. I'm just going to mention that we submitted amendments to 2 resolutions. One is about the highly capable, equitable access to highly capable services. And the wording is really just clarification and draws attention to how highly capable services are often not provided to students with disabilities. The resolution, 1-pager, or I think it's 2 pages now, is being updated. And so is the second resolution, which is that we submitted. Amendments to the resolution, which regards students with disabilities and equitable access and improved outcomes for students with disabilities. We will, as a legislative committee, have a newsletter coming out just about legislative advocacy very soon. Where all of this information will be listed, also which priorities or which issues are the top 5 issues for the state PTA, and what you can use to talk to your legislators, and how to talk to your legislators, how to set up a meeting with them. And these are some 1-pagers you can share and point out and share your story. So we're going to be working on that as a committee. We have an upcoming meeting this Friday at 10:30 a.m. because this week nights are very, very busy. So this time it's going to be during the day. Normally we meet in the evenings. I believe that we are going to have a very good momentum this next legislative session that starts in January, and we will convince legislators to fully fund special education. It's been too many decades of our special education not being funded, right? We just did a little survey. I was 9 years old in 1986 when this became, the basic special education became basic education. So I think this just tells you how overdue the issue is. So we hope for your support and that you're going to join our advocacy meetings and events that are coming up. So please do sign up to follow our calendar on our website, as well as Eventbrite. If you follow us on Eventbrite, you will get a notification when new events post.
Thank you, Jana. I so appreciate that because I was able to find, this is Cheryl Lynn. Thank you again, Jana, for covering me. I will share my screen here. I knew that this month was Disability History and Advocacy Month, and that it's state law for schools to do some activity. What I didn't know was that it was student advocacy that brought about this state law. So I learned this as I was looking through our virtual reading room that, 12 years ago, it was in 2008, as this small screen grab shows. In 2008, a group of youth advocates with disabilities had reason to celebrate. This goes on in the last paragraph. The vast majority of Washington's public schools never even heard of the law. To this day, few Washington schools teach about disability history and justice in October or ever. I'm going to share a video from this 1 out of 5. Whoop. Don't you know it? Stopping for a moment because, clicking through a video. We're going to go at the 1 out of 5.
So this is Jana. This is a video that is posted on the Office of Educational Ombuds website. And the Office of OEO, sometimes called, also has 1 out of 5 curriculum, which means they use that language to because 1 out of 5 people has a disability. No sound.
I will try it again. We may watch it with just the captions.
And that's my brother. That's my brother who's not here.
A lot of the time it's kind of hectic. I'm sorry to say, but it really is.
But the hard thing is getting out the door.
I kind of walk differently. Because of my disability, I like move my hips side to side like this when I'm walking, but I don't mean to.
An adult places a pink wheelchair into a car. Angelina climbs in afterwards.
I have a wheelchair, and I have a walker, and I have forearm crutches coming. I've gone through mainstream schools since I was in kindergarten.
Surrounded by kids with backpacks, Angelina gets into her wheelchair.
What happened was there's just a lot of drama. People saying really mean things about you. Yeah, they were about my disability. What I've experienced is people saying that I can't do things because I have a disability.
Angelina pushes towards a row of numbered doors. Next, her wheelchair empty outside a doorway.
The grown-ups at my school wouldn't do anything about it. It just really hurt me. I think that my parents were just done and thought it would be good to do homeschool. Those kids didn't understand that I could do the things that they could, and they just needed to give me a chance to try to be their friend, and I can be their friend.
Angelina exits a classroom and gets back into her wheelchair.
I can do things even if you think that I can't. I go to a school called MP3.
An awning with lettering, MP3. A sign reads, Meridian Parent Partnership Program.
It's a homeschool program. We go 2 days a week and then 3 days at home.
Angelina pushes to class with friends. A classmate holds the door as she enters on foot.
They're the nicest people I could ever meet. It's really accessible and everyone can get around, not just people who can walk on their 2 feet.
Angelina working with others in a computer class.
I do this class where you're learning about computers. It's not like really like easy stuff you might learn. It's like inside the computer and like about like apps and stuff like that and like how they work.
If I wanted to make this the hyperlink, I would add my A tags in between.
My second class is drama.
Angelina interacts in a circle with her classmates.
It's about speaking in front of a class and like performing.
Angelina talks with the classmate.
Have you ever been to either of them?
I've been to New York, but
Her eyes widen.
really little. I couldn't even, I was like 2 and I can't remember it.
It looks so cool.
Angelina with her family and friends at the mall.
When I grow up, I want to be a criminal defense lawyer. I like solving mysteries. It's going to be hard, so I just need to do what makes me happy. And then own it. Feel good.
Produced by Rooted in Rights and the Washington State Governor's Office of the Education Ombuds. We listen, we inform, we help solve problems.
Okay. We got most of that. Thank you. This is Cheryl Lynn. Thank you. I will go through a couple of additional slides I want to share. That was on our reading room page on our website under for teens and adults. So we recommend this page for any of your teachers, your principals, any staff, in terms of how they can at least find some material to talk about this month. I was going to ask a poll of what is your school doing to mark this month? Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Christy, will you launch that poll? Or Mel? That way we have a little bit of information. While that poll is being launched, I'm going to go ahead and move forward.
looks like it's going.
Okay. I had intended for us to have some breakout time. And then, as I mentioned, the rocket ship tried to explode. As Jana had mentioned too, you can go and follow us on Eventbrite. And Eventbrite, you can find the link to our section on Eventbrite, again, on our website under calendar. You can also subscribe to our Google calendar, so you can incorporate it into if you use Google Calendar, or you can come in and take a look. So Eventbrite for the different activities and webinars and meetings that we plan. If you also are looking for committee, work group meetings, those are also on our calendar. A couple of big things I want to share. We have tomorrow night, but without the technical challenges, knocking on wood, inclusive education benefits us all, so why aren't we doing it? There'll be a lot of different folks that we have, an expert panel of folks who understand inclusive education. If you know any of these names, whether the individuals or their organizations, you know these are well-respected groups and can really speak quite a bit on inclusive education. Many of the questions that Devin was receiving, that some of which were much broader than Seattle Public School or than the special education, would be resolved if we had a truly inclusive education system. So we really encourage you to show up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Another really big opportunity, we'll be promoting this additionally, is Tuesday, November 15th. Kids do well if they can with Dr. Ross Green. Many questions talking about discipline. And Devin did reference that behavior is communication. We wish many more people at Seattle Public Schools understood that, and that they had the training and the understanding of how to address behaviors that are problematic, but understand the communication that's underneath there. This is very exciting. We've had a couple of volunteers, one volunteer who's really been doing a lot of work on this. And if you don't know Dr. Ross Green's name, you probably know one of the many books that he has written. So please add that to your calendar. I highly encourage you to attend. We're also going to do after that meeting with him is on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, we're going to have a community discussion with the idea of let's make change. I mentioned that we have different work groups that were listed on that calendar. I believe, somebody correct me in chat if I've got it wrong, on the Legislative Advocacy Committee. You heard some of the great work that is being done. We meet in a rare 9:30 daytime meeting. We had some different conflicts. Inclusionary Practices meets on alternating Mondays at noon. The next meeting is actually on Halloween. Can't help myself. Nothing scary about inclusionary practices. I can't see screens, so I can't see you all rolling your eyes at such a bad line. We have dyslexia. I know there were several questions about dyslexia. Our dyslexia committee is meeting next Monday at 7 p.m. And I say committee, these are really topics that we are focused on as a board and encourage our members to be focused on. And knowing that these are areas where the school district can be doing a better job. And if you don't get it done right, kids' lives are really affected. And then our family and community engagement, which does a lot of this planning, the FACE committee, their next meeting is Monday, November 7th. And we also have, let's see, is that 2 weeks? I guess that's next. I'm not even going to try and guess, but on November 2nd, we have a open discussion, sip and chat which is not a formula meeting like this is. It's much more casual, much more of an opportunity to connect with one another. Encourage you guys to make it to that. So those are all some of the different activities we've got coming up. I am going to stop sharing and ask, I wasn't looking at chat, and I'd like to see, are there any questions around that? Oh,
This is Jana. I just want to make sure that people know that the legislative advocacy meeting is at 10:30 on Friday. And I'm going to put my email address into the chat if you would like to get involved, or just kind of have time for a little task or a bigger task. Then we would love to have you. And then there is also a 2-eat sip and chat, which means for students, for families of students with disabilities who are also highly capable. And that's on December 7th. That's coming up.
thank you for those corrections. Yeah, corrections and additions. This is Cheryl Lynn. Inclusionary practices, I'm catching up on chat. And did we have the results from the poll?
Yes, can you see them? It says that it's sharing. There were 19% yes, 29% no, and 52% not sure. So we got to get those yeses a bit higher than that.
And this is Jana, you could also just email your teacher and your principal or both at once and ask them, what is our school doing about October History Month? And are you aware of the Washington Administrative Code requiring this? Please let me know, and then come back to us and let us know. We want to hear. Thank you.
This is Cheryl Lynn. I just sent the link for the College of Education University at the UW that has that one slide. You'll have to scroll down a little bit, but nothing about us without us. And it's how they put together this, the 1 out of 5. It's quite a good program. I assume that, Heidi, that was the quote you were looking for. Okay, catching up. Our next, we actually are a little ahead. I'm glad to hear that actually 19% of those who are attending, that there was something going on in school. And as I look through, different announcements. Yeah, I just was wondering if there was one that had been, if anybody has seen something that was more, that was kind of interesting how they did it.
I do want to say that one thing that my PTSA submitted to the principal was a link to the Seattle Public Schools website. There is a page about that, and I'm going to look that up and post it in the chat. So if you are emailing your school, you can include that as well.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Thank you, Jana. It's good to know. And Laura, I see Laura's chat that she got nasty email from a parent asking to stop shoving this information to their kids. Well, words escape me. I'm going to turn this to Janice for a little bit. She's got some news to share about the special education guide we've been working on.
Hi, everybody. This is Janice. And I just want to let everyone know that we expect to be releasing our guide to special education in Seattle Public Schools at the beginning of next week. A lot of you have heard us talk about it, and last month, Pam Phillips showed it to everyone at the meeting. It's going to be available both online and in print hard copy in 10 languages. We had it translated into the top 10 languages spoken by families in Seattle Public Schools. We'll be working really hard starting next week to get the word out about the guide and to get it into the hands of the families who really need it the most. And we need a lot of help with that. And so really, if you can help us, oh, thank you, whoever's sharing. That's what the page on our website will look like. It's not publicly available yet, but that's what the page looks like. And there's an example in Spanish of what the guide looks like on the website. We have been presenting at many school PTAs. And if we haven't been to your school yet, I will be sending out emails again next week to all the school PTAs, letting them know that it is now available and asking if we can come and present to either their board or at a general meeting or a special meeting. And, you know, please help us get in front of as many school parent groups as possible. And we'll also be, you know, working to get this distributed through teachers and principals and through the district as well. So we're going to try to get it out there as broadly as we can, but we can use as much help as possible. Thanks.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Has anybody, well, I guess we have a few people here because we have board members. Have someone else seen our guide presentation through their PTA?
Well, remember, Cheryl, too, we presented it at the monthly meeting last month.
Yes.
So a lot of people were here last month and saw it then too.
Hi, Sherilyn and Janice. This is Heidi Yoakum from North Beach Elementary School. We were so graced by your presentation at our school, and I am the special education co-chair at our school and a kinder and first grade parent. And I have heard feedback from my own teachers, IAs, educators, that they were blown away by the guide, and there was things that they have never even seen themselves. So I cannot wait to get it into the hands of our school community. I did write in the chat because I'd like to know how each school should request what languages we need printed, maybe a little bit of email this person for what languages we may need printed. And then obviously it's easy to do the links to each language available for each community, but it may not be available. There may not be equitable internet and whatnot. So let me know on that portion, but it was just, there were educators in tears because they didn't even understand some of the, and they're special educators. So thank you. Thank you very much.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Heidi, that is such wonderful feedback. I mean, it's also sad, but it's
agreed,
so
agreed, 100%. Because I was like, wait, what? How do you, huh? Like, but you're a special educator. I'll give one person grace. This is her first year in a special educator role. So
this is Cheryl Lynn, somebody who was asking what are the languages. So here again are the languages. And this, Christy, will you tell a little bit about how it was that we chose these languages, or why we went with this translation, these languages?
Yeah, so we actually did a public records request to find out the top 10 languages spoken by the families of kids in SPS, and those are the top 10. So they're specific to our school district.
Great. This is Cheryl Lynn. Okay, now I'm going to move us into some of our business. And Catherine Murph. Sorry, Catherine, it's not been my night. And you should have sharing. We're going to take a look at our budget for the year. We're going to ask for a review of the budget as we move forward to lock it in place.
Okay. Hi, my name is Catherine. I am one of the co-treasurers this year. I have the budget. I hope that everybody can see that on the screen now. This is revised from what I presented last month. So there are some numbers that are the same and there are others that have been updated. Starting at the top, we have budgeted $1,800 for membership dues. That is an assumption of 120 paid members. That gives us a slight stretch goal from last year, but is not unreasonable compared to what we have done in the past. Offsetting the budgeted revenue are national and state PTA dues. National and state PTA dues run $8. Local PTA dues are paid to Seattle Council PTSA, and those are $350. We anticipate that there are about $120 for PayPal fees. So that gives us a net budget for membership of $300. We've budgeted $40,000 for donations this year. This is an increase fairly large over prior years. We're anticipating that half of that is going to come from other PTAs, and the other half of that will be individual fundraising and grant writing. For our committees, we have some expenses. We're anticipating we need interpretation for our SIP and chat meetings. That is sign language interpretation for the deaf and hard of hearing SIP and chats. We also are anticipating interpretation needs for family and community engagement.
Provide educators, families, community members with professional development training to support inclusionary practices across the state. So at this time, we'd like to hear from you.
There is legislative advocacy expenses this year. This will send members to the Legislative Assembly last year, as well as the spring meeting. There may be increased need as we go through the year for this line item. So the PTSA may come back to the general membership for a request of increased funds. Racial equity and inclusion has a $500 budget this year, and that is in line with prior year's budgets. Communications has a budget of $650, and that is for MailChimp and getting communication out to our members. The guide is our biggest increase in expense this year. This is covering costs of translation and printing of the guide. We have spent most of this money to date. So that gives us a total budgeted expenses of $25,408 for student, family, and community support. The next section is administrative expenses for the PTA. These are expenses that we need to have to keep our PTA running. Insurance, some small costs for printing and office supplies, our website, Zoom subscription, bookkeeping software, and then interpretation at our general meetings. This allows us to have sign language, Spanish, Vietnamese, and one more language that I'm missing. I'm sorry if someone can chime in and help me out.
Somali.
Thank you. At all of our general meetings. So at the end of our budget, we've budgeted almost $42,000 of revenue and almost $37,000 of expenses, with an anticipated net income of nearly $5,000 for this year. Are there any questions, or can I provide any additional information about the budget or any assumptions that went into it?
If there are no questions, and questions are welcome, any question is welcome. Budget is not my strong suit, so I appreciate Catherine's work. This is Cheryl Lynn speaking.
So I move, we approve this budget. This is Jana, I'm sorry. I move, we approve the budget.
This is Cheryl Lynn. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Christy. I second.
Okay, so, and we're going to do this vote through a poll, correct?
Correct. Can everybody see it? And if you're a co-host, you might not be able to vote, so you can send me your vote. And only members should vote.
This is Cheryl Lynn. So while we're putting this together, I will also grab the link to our minutes and share that. These are the minutes from our September meeting. And as a 5013C nonprofit, we are required to have our members review the minutes and confirm that they represent the meeting. Christy, if that poll is finished, you can go ahead and put up the poll to vote on the minutes.
I'll tell you that there were 18 yes and no no's and no abstentions for the budget.
So the budget is approved.
Yep.
Thank you. And now to take a look at the minutes, we will post the vote on the minutes.
Oh, wait, does someone need to move?
Oh, yes. Can I have a motion? This is Cheryl Lynn. Can I have a motion?
This is Catherine. I'll move to approve the minutes.
This is Mel. Janice. I'll second.
Okay. So voting on the minutes from September. I suspect the minutes have passed.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to vote? There are 13 yeses, no nos, and 1 abstention.
Okay, thank you. So we have approved the minutes. Well, having dropped the small group chat where we were going to go into breakout rooms for about 20 minutes, it looked like I kind of kept the meeting on time. This one will go down in the record books. I would love to just chat. Thoughts on the meet? I can call. Let's see. I'm going to do this. This is Cheryl Lynn. Jennifer Pelland. I'm just calling names out as I see them. Do you have any questions, any ideas that you want to share, any feedback?
Wait, let me see. I can't see myself. I don't know why there we go. Okay, now I'm on. I don't have any questions. I was really excited to be here tonight and appreciated hearing the conversations during and afterwards. And could see myself or envision myself wanting to participate in some ongoing meetings or be more present. Okay, cool. I didn't know if that was like so just test to yeah, I wasn't sure. So I am excited to be here and learn more, and appreciated the invitation and the question and answer time. So for me, it was more of a data point on yeah, I guess a data point and entry point. So I've never been to special education PTSA meeting. And I guess I feel comfortable sharing that it was positive experience and it's something I would definitely do again.
This is Cheryl Lynn. Well, thank you. That's great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Jackie. Any comments, any thoughts, any feedback?
Hi. I enjoyed being here. I don't have any thing to share, but it was nice to hear everyone and I like being here. Thank you.
Does anybody want to talk about either this is Cheryl Lynn. Does anyone want to talk about, bring up a question they may have about their student's situation or what might be coming ahead, or a positive note? It's always nice to hear what's going well.
Hi, CherylLynn.
Laura.
This is Erica. Can I stop the recording? So this will
Yes,
be more.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Laura, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Laura.